Hi, I'm John. I'm here with David from Starrett Metrology and Carter. So, David, what does Starrett do?
Yeah, well, Starrett is a company formed in 1880
Wow.
in Massachusetts, and it takes its original power from the water that's in the river that goes past the factory. And we're most widely known for the hand tools, the calipers, the micrometers, and things that you have in the metrology industry. We also do industrial band saws,
Right.
and so we have sort of like two divisions there.
Right.
We also have a metrology division,
Right.
and the metrology division is there to help quality controllers, machinists at the shop floor, all sorts of people measure and make sure that their output is what it needs to be.
Right.
So what we have behind me here
Let's go.
is we have an optical comparator and we have a video comparator. And
Right.
so the difference between the two is that this is, if you like, the first generation of the technology where you can
Right.
see a part there, and what you do is you scan the part to see what the dimensions are,
Right.
and there is software that works with it to make that happen.
Right.
So in the business that we're in, what we're
Right.
looking to do is to find people who can make the metrology journey,
Right.
right? And so there are a couple of places that will be. Because prior to Starrett, I've had a background in another couple of companies in the metrology industry.
Right.
And so we hired our first repair engineer directly from a community college.
Right.
And he studied electronics engineering, but mechatronics would probably be the sort of like the catch-all you have now. So like a
Right.
bit of mechanical, a bit of electronics, but mechatronics.
Right.
And he is perfectly trained so that you can have a $250,000 piece of equipment
Right.
and he won't fry it.
Right.
Yeah?
Right.
He'll actually repair it as well as it can be done anywhere in the world.
Right.
He's trained to that level.
Right.
Yeah? So, and he did that with a 2-year, became a 4-year education through a community college
Right.
because it had the right mechatronics
Interesting.
Curriculum
Curriculum or
experience.
sure.
We also, one of our main facilities was actually at UNC Charlotte.
Mm.
At UNC Charlotte, they've got a mechanical engineering department just
Right.
across the road. And it actually has a metrology program.
Right.
So that what used to happen is in the senior design project,
Right.
they would come and we'd get 40 engineers come across the road. They'd have to design something and say, well, okay, we'll help you measure it.
Right.
So we got to see them work on our equipment,
Right.
see how they would work, and then be able to do something with them.
Right.
And we
Right.
picked the best 2 or 3 each year, interviewed them, and usually ended up giving one of them or 2 of them a job.
Right.
One
Right.
year we hired 2 of them. And actually one of them was a computer engineer, not a mechanical engineer, but he was just so good in his application knowledge
Right.
that that's where we go to. And the other thing around it is that it's not just mechanical engineering, it's manufacturing,
Right.
right?
Right.
Can you, one of my favorite interview questions is, can you tell me how this was made?
Right.
Because if you can tell me how it's made, I know how to measure it.
Right.
So if it's an injection molded plastic part, I'm not going to be trying to do certain things with it. Because if you scan it with a certain type of light, it will bounce off in the wrong ways. You probably perfectly might want to put that in a CT machine. So you
Right.
could get the internal as well as the external tolerance.
Right.
Yeah. If it's a turned machine part, and it's obvious it is, there's one right there, and there's a
Right.
clue. You want to be buying one of these 2 Starrett machines to
Right.
make that work. If
Interesting.
it's a stamped part, yeah, and so lots of things get pressed and stuff, then also for the right dimensions, this would be exactly what you want to do.
Right.
If it's a cast part, what sort of casting is that?
Right.
Do you know the difference between investment casting and sand casting?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
because I'm interested in manufacturing application knowledge,
Right.
and then I can build that person initially into, if you like, a trainee application engineer.
Right.
Teach them how to. You can be our plastics guy. You can be our aerospace guy. No, you wouldn't
Right.
put somebody in aerospace straight away because there's a lot to learn,
Right.
and those
Right.
guys are tough.
Right.
But you take that through that process, and then some of the guys I hired back in 2016, 2017, they make it to a point to say, actually, I'd like to try selling this stuff.
Sure.
Because, and then actually the customers love them.
Right.
Because they have deep application knowledge.
Absolutely.
Rather than, hey, my name's David and I'm here to sell you something. What is
Right.
it? Well, I don't know how it works, but
right.
you want some, don't you?
Right.
Yeah. So
having a deep knowledge of the technology behind it is super crucial for actually selling that thing. If you can't understand it yourself, you can't sell it because how else can you know the customer's needs and issues?
Right.
Yeah.
Let me ask real quick. As an engineer coming right out of college, say you're mechanical, mechatronics, electrical, what would you say is a good start into getting that understanding of manufacturing end to end that would allow someone to be a good metrology, have a better understanding of metrology to be able to, help create machines like this, for example?
yeah, hidden in all of the courses that you take, there's one that will be around manufacturing techniques. So pay a real attention to that professor.
Sure.
Ask if there are special things you can learn, and they will tell you it. Yeah?
Sure.
Outside of the study processes, because it might be hidden in what happens when you hit a die with this much force. Can you calculate what force is required to punch through this type of material to do that?
Sure.
And so you're so much into the headspace of, well, yeah, you're going to need about that much weight, and it's going to come down at that force, and okay. Then once you've done that, what's the flashing likely to be like if you don't get the cut edge right?
Right.
Yeah?
Interesting.
And how's that going to affect your production decision?
Right.
What happens if you're out of center with it?
Right.
How would you determine that?
Right.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Are you paying attention in your GD&T class
Hmm.
for, is that parallel? Is that flat? Is that concentric? Is that round? All of those elements, which are defined by the ISO standards, and you can self-teach that.
Sure.
But also something which is really important is, as an application engineer, there's an educational element.
Right.
So are you capable and confident enough to hold a room and say, this is how you use the software? And so you come up to this and you say, okay, here's an edge, and you're trying to find that edge, and you can actually do this.
Right.
It's easy for me because I've been in it 9 years, and even though this technology is relatively new to me,
Right.
the other technologies I've been working with for nearly 10 years.
Right.
Wow.
Okay.
Well,
That's
cool.
very interesting. I would say
Thank
just
you.
really appreciate your time today. Thank
Sure.
you. Have a good one. Thank
Yeah.
you.